Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate all of your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19 Uncensored and Unafraid. Now, this is actually from a couple of days ago. I didn't get to it when I wanted to, probably yesterday or the evening before. I was having a nice battle with a nasty migraine, which means I'll probably get another one soon because it had been a while and they seem to work out that way. But anyway, I wanted to talk about it because I think it's really important. I think it's still indicative of massive, massive problems that the WNBA is having in terms of how it's limiting itself with its growth by turning off new fans with this type of behavior that it continues to repeat, and it's constantly coming from the media. So anyway, this is a former, or I guess both of them are actually former ESPN employees, Kerry Champion and Jamel Hill, talking about Caitlin Clark and the new WNBA fans. Do me a quick favor, like, comment, subscribe. You all know the drill. It helps out tremendously. I truly do appreciate it. I think we're about, I don't know, fewer than 50 away from 15,800. So I guess let's flip that then. We're close up. We're fewer than 250 subscribers away from 16,000. I know y'all can make it happen. I truly appreciate it. Let's go.
Everything is overanalyzed, everything is beyond precious. This is uncharted territory, and we are having some growing pains. And we talked about the new fans in the WNBA and how they also create these growing pains.
Yeah, hear that, new fans? You're the problem. Let's get that out of the way right up front at the beginning. The WNBA was a freaking paradise. It was Earth before Eve decided to bite that damn apple, and shame on Eve. Every problem since then is her fault. Women. Huh. Um, but yeah, just in case you were wondering, it is your fault. You are the root of all problems in the WNBA. It was an activist, lesbian, scissor party paradise before you basketball people decided you were going to start watching. Just saying. Oh, hush.
But I'm going to point out a few instances, and I read an article just recently in The Ringer. You sent that to me about Caitlin
The Ringer. Yeah, I did a video on that article. The fact that she's even using that and talking about it in a positive way.
Clark and being a late scratch for the game against the Portland Fire. But when she was going at her and Tiffany Hayes were going at one another the other night, uh, I didn't mind that. In fact, I don't mind. Let it be. Let it be. I bring more of that. I like it. You know what I mean? I didn't like the way she talked to the ref. And I said, when she was like, open your eyes. And he was like, like this, like, calm down, calm down. And in my mind, I'm like, open your eyes. Are we allowed to talk to the refs like that? Because I'm calling CP3. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, can we talk to the refs that recklessly and get away with the things that are being said?
Right, this is some of the dumbest crap I've ever heard. This is an absolute clown. She is a moron. She is low IQ. Yeah, I am being harsh because I'm tired of this crap. She clapped and said, "Open your eyes." And she's acting like this has never, ever happened before in the history of the sport of basketball. And it's one of the worst things ever. Man, when I was 12, I was saying worse to the officials and not getting technicals. The officials are supposed to be grown ups. A good official, a good referee. Yes, there is a line, but they are always going to leave athletes some leeway in the things they say and how they initially react to calls because of the heat of the moment. And a good official and a good referee understands that, and they give space for that. Open your eye. Are you kidding me that you're going to talk in this arrogant, condescending manner as if open your eyes is some no-no, some line that has been crossed? Have you ever listened to NBA players who are mic'd up and some of the things they say to officials and don't get technicals? Are you kidding me right now? Are you familiar with Diana Taurasi in the WNBA? Are you kidding me with this absolute nonsense?
And I've never seen that before, but maybe I haven't paid attention. So I don't.
You have not paid attention because you're an idiot. To say you have never seen that before means you have never watched a freaking basketball game your entire life, but you're going to sit here and spout off about Caitlin Clark because you want some damn attention because nobody watches you.
Don't want to be extreme like the fans who for or against.
You're being incredibly extreme.
But following the night before, the same ref, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, the same ref, from my understanding, dealing with Paige Beckers, teed her up because she was clapping to not him, but to anyone.
Paige Becker's technical foul was rescinded, and it was rescinded before you did this, just to be clear. Now, of course, they're also now I don't think Paige should have gotten a technical, so be clear. So I'm not defending Caitlin and throwing Paige under the bus, but I am saying if you're going to do something like this, you also have to put in a lot of context because just because clapping and clapping happen does not mean that they are the same in any way, shape, or form. But again, Paige, and I, again, don't think Paige should have gotten a technical. I was glad that the technical was rescinded. Okay. But to sit here and use that is disingenuous at best.
Like trying to get her like, all right, shake it off, shake it off, shake it. You know what they do.
Right, right.
And she got a T. And she's like, why did I get a T? That type of blatant favoritism annoys the hell out of me.
You annoy the hell out of me because you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. This is a racial issue for you. Everything your existence is about racial issues. You're talking to someone whose existence is about racial issues. Jamel Hill was fired from the very, 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 very activist racial ESPN that is no longer about sports because she was too far in that direction. Think about that for a second. And one thing else, one other thing I want to add, since we're getting into clapping and we're talking about favoritism, no one gets beaten up in the WNBA like Caitlin Clark. We've talked about that. We could go, 17% of the flagrant fouls in the entire league in 2024 were committed against her. She gets knocked around, she gets hit, she gets fouled all the time without getting calls. We're even seeing that this year. She's getting in foul trouble because when she breathes on a player, they're calling a foul against her. But that freedom of movement stuff, it may happen for everybody else in the WNBA, but it doesn't happen for Caitlin Clark. They are still allowed to maul Caitlin Clark. She probably has the ball in her hands more than any player in the WNBA, and I think she's ninth in free throw attempts. Ninth. And I got so worked up about that. I got to circle back up because I can't even remember if I said this already. But y'all remember, and I think correct me if I'm wrong. Am I really losing it? I think it happened twice in 2024. Caitlin Clark got a technical after being frustrated with herself for making a bad play. She slapped the stanchion under the basket. Had nothing to do with the referee, had nothing to do with arguing a call. It was her frustration with herself for a bad play, and she got teed up. And guess what? It wasn't rescinded. Diana Taurasi, same season, did it. I can't remember if it wasn't called or if that was the time where she got a technical and then it was rescinded, and it would have been her seventh, which would have been a suspension. So there was a whole lot of favoritism for Diana Taurasi, no favoritism for Caitlin Clark.
And I don't know if this is her fault because I think it might be unfair for me to say it's her fault. But at the same time, it's like, why is she getting this special treatment?
Did you not hear anything I just said? That, and this is what I mean. This is where you make it very clear that these people just hate Caitlin Clark because no sane, reasonable human being who has any knowledge of what has gone on in the WNBA since Caitlin Clark entered the league can say with a straight face that Caitlin Clark is getting favoritism, that Caitlin Clark is getting special treatment. That is insanely stupid.
And it just is yet again another example of the league and its fans and new fans, old fans, her fans, whomever fans being so precious with her.
What the hell are you talking about? No player has had more stacked against her from the top of the league down, from Kathy down to the freaking janitors.
She deserved to be teed for talking to that ref that way. Open your
She did not. She did not.
eyes. Open your eyes. So you're suggesting I don't know how to do my job. I know for a fact when Afisa Collier stood there.
before she gets into Nafisa, and I know I'm stopping a lot, but she's saying so many ridiculous things I happen to address. There again, she's going back to this nonsense, and this is why I say she's exposing herself for being an absolute clown who's looking for an excuse to hate on Caitlin Clark. Because again, no sane, reasonable basketball person is going to sit here and be like aghast at a player saying, "Open your eyes," to an official. That is one of the most benign things you could say to an official if you're upset with a call and you're going to argue a call. That is like the nicest thing you could possibly say. That's practically a compliment. You are telling them, "Hey, I get that you missed it because it happened while you were blinking and your eyes were closed. Could you do me a favor? Do me the courtesy of maybe making sure your eyes are not blinking and that they are open so that you can make the correct call."
In the appropriate setting, read the League the Riot Act, talked about the officiating and how she doesn't like it. She got, I mean, when I tell you, she is still dealing with the repercussions of that.
He's not. This is again more clown victimhood stuff because that is who this is, and she did not do it in the right setting. We all know what we're talking about with Nafisa Collier after the injury and all of that. That's what she's referring to. So yeah. Anyway,
But she did it the right way. She didn't, in my opinion,
in your opinion, of
she
course.
did it at a time where, you know what, you have something to say. It's the end of the season. I'm not on the court. I'm not about to rip you right now. I'm not about to distract from the game. I'm not going to be in my emotions while playing, although I do have those. Here's the time and the place. To me, that felt like the appropriate time and the place.
Of course it did for you. But if Caitlin Clark had done it at the same time and place, you'd be on here screeching and screaming and wailing and whining and crying like a little you know what, because it's Caitlin Clark.
Say what you want. But the more we get to catch these glimpses of Caitlin Clark, I'm like, ooh, I don't like you. I don't like how you behave on the court. And
We back that up.
say what you want. But the more we get to catch these glimpses of Caitlin Clark, I'm like, ooh, I don't like you. I don't like how you behave on the court. And the league
Yeah, this is disgusting. This is vile. This is despicable, loathsome, trash behavior. Seriously? This is the freaking media with the WNBA talking about the star of the league, the face of the league, the one player who is nothing but class. Every single time she talks to the media, every single time she is in public discussing the WNBA, talking about how much she loved the league growing up, giving flowers to the players that came before her, talking about how much she wants to grow the league, how appreciative she is. She's always, always positive, always positive. Never buys into that crap, never throws other players under the bus for how they act towards her on the court. Every other player in the WNBA comes across as disgustingly unlikable, and you're going to sit here and say you don't like her? This is gross. This is truly disgusting, despicable behavior. And I am absolutely 100% tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. I'm not going to let it slide. This is gross. She has no business saying this kind of crap. She has no business talking about Caitlin Clark in this manner. She is disgusting to me. Absolutely disgusting.
league is positioning you to be its superstar because you are. And with leadership comes certain responsibility. And if you don't want that responsibility, I understand that. But the way that you behave, this entitlement that you behave, the way that you were talking to your coaches on you and Sophie, you enjoy that, right? So if that's what you enjoy, if you want to be the villain, if you want to be the tough person, and I'm not even going to compare you to guys in the NBA, if that's what you two decide to do, or if that's what you specifically, Caitlin, decide to do, then let it be, because we come
Oh, let me
at you
finish.
just the same way we would come at anybody else. And her fans
No, you're not. You're not coming at her in the same way as anybody else. You are coming at her in a completely different way. And again, mentioning Sophie makes it clearly a fact that this clown, this absolute clown, is making it racial. It is all racial for her. It's jealousy, it's envy. Caitlin Clark has never acted in any way with entitlement. Caitlin Clark could have a whole hell of a lot of things to say about how she's been treated by the WNBA, and she carries and conducts herself with class at all times. And to sit here and make these vile attacks and sit here and say you don't like her because she's a fiery competitor on the court is disgusting. Did I mention disgusting? I'm sick of this crap. You want to talk about, you mentioned the NBA. Why don't you want to talk about the NBA? Are you going to tell me LeBron James doesn't have things to say to the referees? There's the biggest crybaby whiner on the court in the history of the sport. Are you going to say Michael Jordan never got into the face of officials? Kobe Bryant never got in the face of officials? Of course, you're not going to say that because then all of your crap falls apart. I could go on forever. I don't even know if I'm going to show this video because I got fired up because I am done with this bullshit. Done with it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe.